Imagine watching a mountain of silver sail into your harbor every year and still ending up broke. That was Spain's paradox. On paper, it was the richest empire Europe had ever seen, with fleets glittering with American gold and territories stretching from Flanders to the Philippines. But under the surface, the empire was quietly poisoning itself with the very thing it prized most. Spain didn't just have a greed problem. It built a whole system around the fantasy that endless treasure could replace hard choices. And that fantasy is what brought its empire to its knees. To see how this trap was sprung, you have to start in the New World. After toppling the Aztec and Inca empires, Spain gained access to some of the most spectacular mineral wealth on Earth. The Cerro Rico at Potosi, a rich mountain in modern Bolivia, became a legend. Silver poured out of it in such volumes that Spanish coins became the world's first global currency. For Madrid, this looked like a divine endorsement. It seemed God himself had chosen Spain to be the banker of Christianity. This sense of destiny fed an imperial appetite with no off switch. Why bother building factories or a diverse economy when you can just mine more silver and buy whatever you need from others? Spain did just that. Italian, Flemish, and later Dutch and English merchants handled the shipping and manufacturing. Spanish nobles, who looked down on trade and manual labor, preferred collecting rents and holding royal offices. Greed wasn't just about wanting more money. It was about wanting wealth without the dishonor of actually making things. At first, the system seemed to work. Silver paid for Spain's feared infantry, funded grand palaces, and bankrolled its role as Europe's self-appointed defender of Catholicism. But easy money encourages expensive habits. The Habsburg kings plunged into one war after another. Instead of asking if they could truly afford to fight everywhere at once, they reached for the quick answer: borrow now, and pay later when the next treasure fleet comes in. Bankers were happy to play along as the mines kept delivering. But the silver flow was never guaranteed. Storms, pirates, and mismanagement made it unreliable. When the numbers didn't add up, the Spanish crown did something that became a habit. It defaulted. In the late 16th and 17th centuries, Spain declared bankruptcy multiple times. Each crash shook European finance and shredded Spain's credibility. An empire drowning in silver kept finding itself short of cash at the worst possible moments. Meanwhile, that ocean of precious metal flooded the entire European economy. With so much silver, each coin bought less. Prices surged across the continent in what historians call the price revolution. Inside Spain, the effect was brutal. If you were a peasant, a soldier, or a craftsman, your wages lagged far behind the rising cost of bread, tools, and clothing. The empire's glittering riches meant a permanent squeeze for millions of ordinary people. Greed also expressed itself in a hunger for purity that hollowed out the state. After expelling its Jewish population, Spain targeted the Moriscos, converted Muslims, in the early 17th century. Many were skilled farmers and artisans. Fearing their supposed disloyalty more than valuing their contributions, the monarchy expelled them. This stripped the empire of taxpayers and producers it desperately needed. While Spain clung to this rigid, honor-bound order, its rivals were forced to be nimble. England and the Dutch Republic couldn't rely on massive silver imports, so they poured energy into shipbuilding, trade, and finance. They built flexible economic machinery that Spain lacked. When they fought Spain, they went for the jugular, raiding treasure fleets and disrupting the silver pipeline. By the late 1600s, the cracks were structural. Corruption was rampant. Local elites skimmed off wealth, while the government in Madrid just kept inventing new taxes and squeezing harder. Each squeeze bred more resentment. When Napoleon invaded Spain in 1808, that anger exploded. Across Spanish America, leaders like Simon Bolivar and José de San Martin declared independence. They had lived under Madrid's greed for generations and decided they'd had enough. Within a few decades, Spain lost the bulk of its American empire. In the end, Spain didn't fall because it ran out of treasure. It fell because treasure allowed it to avoid the hard work that lasting power demands. Greed whispered that more silver could solve any problem. For centuries, Spanish rulers listened. They chose quick extraction over slow investment and status over productivity. By the time they realized the mountain of silver had a bottom, their empire was already crumbling from within. Thanks for watching. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.